on with you? I feel like there's a silent conversation happening. What happened, guys? I want in on the chat. Isn't it so painful to look at?
Crack is whack.
Crack is whack. But actually it adds some character.
South Africa, and a very, very, very warm welcome to you. This is Afternoon Express. My name is Jeannie D.
Good afternoon, South Africa. My name is Balisa Dembe. You are ravishing.
Well, Cape Town is still winter, while the rest of the world is experiencing a fantastic summer. So you look very summery, I'm very wintry.
In fact, all the Cape Townians. Yeah.
Now, the Heart and Stroke Foundation reports that every single day in South Africa, nearly 240 people will suffer a stroke, and approximately 70 will be fatal.
Now, they also maintain that an estimated 10 people suffer from a stroke every hour. Now, in light of Stroke Awareness Week, which just passed, it's increasingly important, of course, to have the conversation and raise awareness.
So in studio today, we meet Bianca Damon, who at 19 years old suffered a stroke. She joins us on the couch to reflect on her experience of recovery and refusing to give up. Then Judy Kaywood and Mr. Skosana from the Helderberg Stroke Support Group also join us to speak about the importance of stroke awareness.
We also meet businesswoman and the founder of Longevity, Dr. Tamara Pfeiffer. She chats to us about her passion on medical biohacking and life extension medicine. We also talk to her about maintaining a heightened level of wellness. Now connect with us online and tell us if you know someone in your family has ever experienced a stroke, and of course what toll it took on the family. Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express or comment on our Facebook page.
Make this summer your time to shine with Big Soleil. It's now time for our self-care series brought to you by Big Soleil. Going about our day-to-day lives becomes increasingly easier when we maneuver through life surrounded by only good vibes. This is absolutely my mantra, and this applies to our personal and professional spaces. However, what happens when these spaces are contaminated by toxicity, and how do we block out the negativity? Welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much.
Such a pleasure to have you here. I am such a huge believer in energy is everything, and the energy around you has such a huge impact on every part of you. But is negativity actually bad for your health?
Absolutely. Negativity can actually be paralyzing to you. Wow. It's really, really bad. There's no other word for it. It can actually be so bad that if you're constantly exposed to negativity, you won't be able to string a sentence together.
Yeah. Wow.
I want to use an example, okay?
Yeah,
so let's
please.
say that you're working at a company and the SEO is really negative. He's criticizing and he's really just got nothing nice to say to anyone. Yeah. Immediately in that space, you are going to lose your energy.
Yeah.
You're going to feel totally unprotected, and you're going to feel as if you need to protect yourself, and what that's going to do is it's going to affect your physical body.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. And you kind of see a trend happening with people where if they have negative people in their life, toxic people in their life, it's so difficult to get rid of them. You either feel connected to them. What kind of relationship does that bring with you?
Yeah, okay, so there are going to be two things why you get stuck with someone. It's going to be a physical thing, like it could be a parent, it could be a partner that you're in a relationship.
Relationships.
Yeah, totally toxic. And the other thing is you could be emotionally connected to them. So it's a physical thing or emotionally, where you feel as if you actually can't live without them, or they can't live without you. So you feel stuck. Yeah. It can actually even be a combination of the both. You know, the physical, you can't really move from them, as well as you emotionally attached to them. So it's very difficult.
It's like the relationship between an empath and a narcissist. Like the narcissist needs the empath because needs that person to kind of feed their narcissism, and the empath, like needs, almost thrives on that negativity.
Almost thrives on it, and they can't live without it.
Yeah. So what tools do you recommend for people to kind of block out negativity? Because I think that like having negativity in your environment can affect your self-worth, and that ultimately will then lead to feeling sick, feeling low, depression, all of that, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing is you need to take yourself into an empowering position.
Yeah.
So the first thing you need to do is actually make the choice.
Okay. Yeah.
Should I stay or should I go? The reason why you're going to do that is because then you're going to stop blaming. You're in the position you're in because you choose to be. Number one, make the choice. The next thing is you need to ask yourself, is it true? Is that negativity actually true? If it's true, fix it. Because if they come back to you and they repeat the same negativity again, you can say to them, yeah, this is what I've done about it. You were right. I actually gave it some thought, and this is now what I've done about it.
Yeah.
If it's not true, it's their stuff. It's not your stuff. Don't carry that baggage. Leave it where it is. It belongs to them. It's not yours.
Yeah.
But as a life coach, this is so much easier to put in your daily living and your personal relationships. But how does it work at work in a professional setting where you can't just pick up your toys and go, you've got bills to pay, but you keep dealing with the same issue?
Yeah, so for me, you have to have a plan. So if you've got a really, really nasty boss, you have to have a plan. How are you actually going to talk to him? You need to go into his office and you need to talk about your clients. How? Plan it. Make sure you're breathing before you walk in. Get a pen and a piece of paper and literally plan it. Step one, make sure I know my content. So if he asks you a question, you're going to have the answer. So you're well read on whatever it is. So plan exactly how you're going to approach him. The other thing which is so vital is make sure what we discussed on Monday, make sure you've got me time. You can't constantly have this attack, negative. You need to back away from it, gather your strength.
But don't you find sometimes when you go into a negative situation, it becomes so overwhelming that you get so flustered and then you don't get out what you want to say because you're just so emotional. And then like later on in the shower, you're like, oh, I should have said that.
That happens to me all
I
the
want all
time.
my arguments in the shower.
So the idea is go back.
Yeah.
If this is the person that you've chosen to, let's say the boss, you've decided at this stage of your life you can't move.
Yeah.
You have to be working there for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So go back to him and say, listen, I actually don't like it, but have a plan. Don't walk in there and say to him, I don't like the way you're treating me without a set out plan. Yeah, it makes it very important.
And Rin, I always learn so much from you, and I think so many viewers at home have definitely been taking those notes and applying them in their daily lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much.
Now, the trick is to always think and be positive, and the rest will fall into place organically. Well, now is your time to shine with Big Soleil disposable razors. They're available at your local leading retailers nationwide. Now, after the break, we make a tasty shakshuka recipe with Chef Putzeletso. Plus, we meet Dr. Tamara Pfeiffer. Don't miss out.
Express yourself.
This is it. After weeks of grueling challenges and intense boardroom deliberations, it all comes down to this. Only 3 of the top 5 will win the opportunity of a lifetime when they are declared the winners of the next brand ambassador. Tune in to see the judges' final verdicts and find out who will be victorious. Don't miss the grand finale on Thursday, 7th November at 7:30 p.m. Repeat Saturdays at 2 p.m. on SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by Capitec.
Express yourself.
Clover Classic, the creamy taste that takes you back. Made with love by Clover.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Shakshuka eggs is a typical Middle Eastern style dish, but we're adding a little local spin to this flavoursome dish with our eggs in classic chakalaka recipe. Now this makes for a fantastic midweek meal, so to get this recipe, SMS the keyword Clover to 33650 and it will be sent straight to your device. SMSs cost R1.50 and free SMSs do not apply. Welcome back to the Loft, Chef.
Thank you,
now,
thank you.
You've got something up your sleeve today that I had no clue its origins. Like, I didn't know that this was a Middle Eastern dish. Growing up ekhaya, emlazi, I thought that this was just something basic that all families enjoy. So it's like a chakalaka kind of vibe, or shatini, but with eggs.
Yeah, so we went to private school, you know Asmus, we zhuzh things up, yes. So it's very simple. The first thing we do is that you heat your oven, you preheat your oven to 160 degrees Celsius, right? Then you have your, are you ready to do some mixing?
I'm ready, girl.
Good.
Okay, cool.
You mix some olive oil into your pan.
Okay.
Just make sure your heat is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just turn that a little up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have some onions.
Nice.
There is your, yes, add some onions. And then you just let that cook, simmer a bit for maybe about 3 minutes.
Okay.
And when you're done with that, you then add your garlic.
Okay, stunning. So we've got this beautiful quad here with everything that we need. We've got some
Crushed garlic, yeah.
We've got some chili. We've got some ginger here as well.
Yeah, just add a
I'm just
little
going to
bit.
put a little...
Just a bit.
of
We
everything.
know you
girl.
and your fiery tongue, please.
I absolutely love my food, flavoursome. I love all of it coming together
Yeah.
in such a lovely dish, especially
Just
one that's
mix
so
that up.
simple to put together.
Yeah. So
Okay.
just mix that up, let it sit for about 2 minutes. Then when you're done, you add everything else. You got your red peppers.
Cool.
Just to add some color to that dish. Green peppers.
Green.
Umbila, some corn.
We've got a little robot happening
Yes.
here. Some red, green, and some yellow.
And then you add some ground coriander.
Okay.
You've got some paprika,
Nice.
just for that flavor.
Yeah.
Fire things up.
Yeah. So in terms of Middle Eastern cuisine, is this something that we see quite typical coming out from them?
Yeah, actually. And I mean, it's a well-loved dish, that side. And as you say, it's very simple. You can have it for brunch.
Yes.
People really have it. They have it for brunch.
Yeah, the leftover
And
eggs from
lastly-
breakfast. Okay.
And lastly, some tomatoes.
Okay, you can just chuck that in for me as everything is starting to
There we go.
thicken up.
Now you need to add some Middle Eastern flavor to it. So just, add some vibe to that. You know?
Okay, well, we're adding
Add
some
vibe.
Middle Eastern vibes, some belly dancing in the kitchen. I'm not mad at that at all because food is about celebrating, food is
Yes,
about coming together, and
definitely,
food is about enjoyment.
definitely.
Okay, so whilst that's in there,
So once we're done with this, you let this sit for about 15 minutes, right? And when we're done, you add some baked beans.
okay.
Thank you.
Then we've got some beautiful Clover Classic.
Yes.
And this is a nice spin on it as well, adding some, like a dairy-based snack into the pot. I mean,
Yeah.
it's something that I haven't really seen that often, but I'm seeing
Just add about 2 of those and we sort it.
a little more. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect.
And when we're done with this, you let this sit for about 15 minutes to cook. And when you're done with this, you'll just pop it in here.
Okay.
So we'll just pour it into our...
Baking tray. So you
Baking
can
tray,
basically
yeah.
have whatever container, whatever baking tray you use at home.
Yes,
You
yes.
put that entire ingredients that
Yeah.
comes together like this.
Now this is my favorite part, Bali. So what you do is that you just pop, just gently,
Okay.
pop some holes in there for your eggs.
Okay. So you make a little bed for them.
Yes, for your eggs.
Okay.
Then you can pop 1 or 2 in there.
And this is how they just stay and kind of float on top of the sauce. Nice.
Just 1 more.
And since our oven's already preheated and it's already hot, we can just pop that straight into the oven.
Yeah, for about 20, 30 minutes. But
Okay.
you'll also check your eggs. pop it in the oven, and when it is done, it's going to come out looking like this.
This looks so good.
Magic.
Okay.
Yeah, so you just pop some, grind some salt and pepper on top, and you just garnish with coriander. It's very nice to actually eat it or serve it with some flatbread as well.
Oh, nice.
And it's as simple as that.
So you can play with it. I mean, I know we always have to add Mzansi flavor to it, so it's quite nice to try with ujeke as well. Some homemade steamed bread. However you want to enjoy it, this is the recipe to try at home. Now remember to SMS the keyword Clover to 33650 to get this recipe sent to your device. But just in case you need to see how it's made one more time, here's a quick recap.
Made with love by Clover.
Clover Classic, the creamy taste that takes you back. Made with love by Clover.
Now, Dr. Tamara Pfeiffer is a leader on the African continent in medical biohacking and life extension medicine. In 2019, she was a finalist in the Woman of Stature healthcare category for her extensive work and research.
Now she joins us on the couch to chat about her important work. Now, if you've got any questions for Dr. Tamara, head over to our socials using the hashtag Afternoon Express. Welcome to the studio, Tamara.
Thank you so much.
This topic for me is so mind-blowing because I just keep learning more and more about it, and it's something that you've become so passionate about, which I just enjoy seeing. You know, getting this medical information to patients is so important. How did your journey with medicine begin?
So, interestingly enough, I've always been interested in medicine, but how my journey towards medical biohacking happened was straight after I qualified, a lecturer from America came through and I really admired him. And he said something that just rocked me to my core. And what he said was, it takes between 30 and 50 years for new research to filter down into general practice.
Wow.
Now, when you think about the fact that every 78 days, we double our information when it comes to medicine. What are we doing things from 30 to 50 years ago?
Totally.
It's crazy. So from that day on, I woke up at 3 o'clock every morning and I studied all the new journal articles and I made sure that I was always at the top, cutting edge of research. But then I realized that it doesn't help if just I know that, and I can only help so many patients a day. So we started writing courses, master's level courses for doctors and medical specialists on advanced preventative medicine and precision medicine. And then from there on, I really became passionate about the idea that health should be more than just the absence of disease. We should be optimized.
Yeah, absolutely. Running your body at its most optimal level. What exactly is biohacking?
So, if we think about the way we currently are, generally in South Africa, is we get stronger and smarter and faster up until around the age of 30. And then we get sicker and slower and a little bit more frail and more dependent on our loved ones. For about 50, 60 years. Now, that is not only expensive financially, it's horrible emotionally to become frail and sore and uncomfortable. What it's been shown in research is that centenarians, so people who live over 100, they only spend a third on healthcare compared to people who die between 60 and 70. Wow. That's crazy.
Wow.
Okay, but why? What are they doing differently?
So the reason is that they only start to decline in their last 2 to 5 years of life. So we need to really focus in our healthcare system on extending health span and reducing sick span.
So how is it possible then to live without aging? Please tell me now.
The real secret is that it's in precision medicine. One size fits all is very old medicine. So it's really important. You know, we live in this body every day, all day. For us to know our bodies, for us to understand our biochemistry, to do a really good set of blood tests, that tells us what's happening right now. And then to do genetic tests, because genetic tests can tell us what your future could be.
And you have something very exciting up your sleeve, I mean, with your skin DNA and your testing DNA. How does that work and how can we get involved? Because, girl, I need something personalized for me, exactly, because I'm not trying to age.
So there's two kinds of genetic testing. There's high penetrance genetic testing that tells you you've got a very high incidence of getting a certain disease. What we do is low penetrance genetic testing. So what that does is it gives us the map that if we design our diet and lifestyle, and the skin DNA is even more exciting because it tells you exactly which ingredients to put on the skin and which aesthetic treatments to do to change your skin aging destiny or your health destiny. So you've got 75% control.
Friends, by the way.
I'm here.
That's so beautiful. So is there a specific difference then between anti-aging and biohacking?
It depends on how you look at it.
Okay.
So for me, it's the same thing because I want your biological age to always be younger than your chronological age. That's incredibly important. We should be feeling 30 up until we're 60, and the new research is showing that. So biogerontology, which is the actual word for medical biohacking, it looks at the science of cleaning up the accumulative damage in the body before it causes aging. And if this works, and if we get to that, which is in the next 5 to 10 years, they're saying, this is the scientific research behind living to 200 and beyond that.
Lovely. Oh, that's incredible. I can't wait to live to 100.
Yeah. So we've asked you on social media if you've got any questions for Dr. Tamara. And we've got Shireen Adams using the hashtag Afternoon Express saying, hey, Dr. Tamara Pfeiffer, besides living a healthy lifestyle, how do you maintain your wellness?
So it's very, very important to, I would say the number one thing is sleep hygiene and managing stress.
What is sleep hygiene?
So sleep hygiene is making sure you go to bed at the same time every day. And why that's so important is that the janitors in your brain that clean up the accumulative damage that happens normally during the day, they only switch on when you're sleeping.
Okay.
So if we're not sleeping, we've got more inflammation, we've got more stress. They've shown an increased risk of autoimmune diseases, inflammatory diseases, and even cancers in people who do night shift working and don't have proper sleep hygiene.
Can you sleep too much?
Yes.
Oh, what's too much?
I'd say 7 to 8 hours generally is a good amount of sleep. But again, if you can do your genetics, you can know exactly.
Oh, I can't wait to do my genetics. Thank you so much for being here today. What a fantastic, fascinating conversation. You're amazing. We're now besties.
Yay.
Judy Kaywood and Mr. Skosana from the Heidelberg Stroke Support Group join us right after the break. Every day, brave young kids around our country fight their own private battle against cancer. To show them that other kids and families have got their back, a portion of the proceeds from every NutriKids product sold will go to secure the next Clover NutriKids Choc Home in Port Elizabeth, a support base where children undergoing treatment and their families are accommodated, supported, and given a fighting chance against cancer. Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Judy Kaywood is the Community Rehabilitation Coordinator at the Heidelberg Stroke Support Group. Now, she has been passionate about recovery process for stroke victims for a substantial portion of her life.
So we are also joined now by Mr. Skosana, who has been a committee member at the ASSG for over 3 years. They join us now in studio to chat about the importance of stroke awareness. Welcome to the show. Thank you so very much for being here. So, Judy, if you could perhaps tell us, what does it mean to have a stroke?
A stroke is when the blood supply to the brain is cut off, and obviously the brain needs oxygen and food to survive.
Yeah.
I think we're all aware of the symptoms of stroke. It can have a devastating effect on a person's life, causing paralysis and other problems. And I think through the Heidelberg Stroke Support Group, something we're very aware of is it's not only the person who has the stroke that's affected, but also the family as well.
Yeah. And what kind of ethics do you look at as a support group coming together? Is it specifically with the patient, their family and rehabilitation?
We've got, I think just to very quickly, we've been going for 26 years, and it's not just about Kosana and I. We've got an amazing team of therapists, committees in our communities, wonderful volunteers and assistants who've received training, who help us. Some of them are stroke survivors themselves, and I think we've got 4 main focuses. The one is, obviously, you gave the statistics about stroke at the beginning of the show. We want to stop strokes in South Africa. So we do.
Is that doable?
Well, I think if the public's more aware of your risk factors for stroke, which in a nutshell are your medical risk factors: high blood pressure, people with diabetes are at risk, people with high cholesterol, and family history of heart disease, and then your lifestyle factors, which is smoking, how you eat, doing sufficient exercise, people who are overweight at risk. And there's a lot of things people can do about that. It's not easy. So we do a lot of talks about risk factors. We've started an exciting project at one of the schools, making the grade 7s aware of your risk factors for stroke. And then a big focus is on rehabilitation. We've got 7 community groups in the Heidelberg, and we do a program with exercises and also activities to work on other impairments for stroke. And then training of people in the community to assist stroke survivors, and then advocacy of problems that we pick up on, of helping with those.
Mr. Skosana, you had a stroke. Tell us about that day. What happened, what it felt like?
Ndingathetha isiXhosa.
Ndicinga
into yobana into eyenzekayo kum ndaziva nje mna ndidizi. Like iweather nje iclear yatshintsha yangathi kuzawunetha kanje. Ndabe ndriver. Ndadriver apha ndawufika endlini. Xa ndifika endlini ndabe senditshintshile nothetha. Ndingasakwazi uthetha kakuhle and sendibilile. Inkosikazi yami ibuzile uba kwenzeka ntoni kuwe, uselile? Ndithi no, azange uyazi andiseli. Ndagqibela ngelo xesha uthetha sandiphinde ndithethe.
Mr. Skosana, just to summarize what you've experienced that day, he was driving and his vision became blurred all of a sudden, as if it was about to start raining. But it was a clear day and that wasn't the case. When he got home, his speech had already deteriorated, so much so that Mr. Skosana's wife even asked, "Have you been drinking? Like, what's going on with this slurred speech?" And that was the end of the speech. It then deteriorated rapidly thereafter.
Wow. What is the rehabilitation part like for somebody who's had a stroke?
Okay, well, I think most people would start in hospital with some probably physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy if they need that. I think the big difficulty, especially people who aren't on medical aid, might spend very short time in hospital. There's some really good government health services, but it's very limited in terms of rehabilitation. So I can speak mainly about the Western Cape and our area where people would be admitted to hospital. If they were were lucky enough, they could get into Western Cape Rehab Centre at Mitchell's Plain, a wonderful facility, but they have very strict criteria of who can go there. People would then be referred to their local clinics or CHCs. Transport's a huge issue for people getting to rehabilitation.
Is there a window period if somebody's having a stroke? Like, if you feel like you're having a stroke, what is the first thing you can do? Like, can you drive yourself to a hospital, or like what should people do if they feel like they might be having a stroke?
Right. I think very quickly they've brought out a new, it's FAST, F-A-S-T, you know.
Yes.
And an easy way for a lay person to recognise a stroke is F stands for face. So if an individual or family member or whoever suddenly notices drooping on one side of the face, one can sort of start thinking maybe somebody's having a stroke. Obviously, with a stroke, one side of the body is paralysed or weak, so the A is for arms. So you can ask the person to lift up their arms, and if the one side's weak or nothing's happening there, you can really start thinking maybe the person's having a stroke. And S is for speech. Speech can be affected. So either the person starts talking slurred, like Kusana mentioned, or what we call aphasia, where they know what they want to say, but the words won't come out. And then the T is for time. And I think the big thing these days is we want people to get to hospital, especially if there's a special stroke unit, because we talk about time is brain. So the sooner a person can get assistance and get to hospital,
damage to the brain,
the better.
Wow, thank you very much for all of this very helpful information. We will have it all on our social media pages as well, should you need it. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you very much.
Gain peace of mind with an efficient laundry cycle. Feel cooler air, even at midday. Enjoy mealtime with food kept fresh all day long. Better inverter, LG inverter.
Now, we've been sharing the amazing benefits of LG's inverter technology, and we've mentioned just how precise motor control and energy efficiency can save you time and money. But what benefits can you actually expect?
Well, inverter technology in the InstaView keeps food fresher for longer, as the inverter technology does a better job of maintaining a more constant temperature. Or how about the fact that thanks to this inverter technology, LG air conditioners consume 70% less electricity while providing cooling up to 40% faster than typical air conditioners.
So throw in other amazing benefits, like the fact that LG microwave ovens can defrost food faster with greater precision than other micros, and there's no way that you can afford to do this without amazing technology in your home.
Gain peace of mind with an efficient laundry cycle. Feel cooler air, even at midday. Enjoy mealtime with food kept fresh all day long. Better inverter, LG inverter.
After the break, we chat to stroke survivor Bianca Damon.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. I hope that you're having a lovely afternoon. On the 3rd of March 2015, Bianca Damon's life changed forever. At the age of 19, she suffered a stroke that would create a new normal that she would now have to deal with for the rest of her life.
Bianca joins us on the couch to reflect on her journey of recovery and where she is now. Now, if you've got any questions for Bianca, head over to our socials using the hashtag Afternoon Express. Welcome to studio, Bianca.
Thank you so much. How are you?
I am well, and you guys?
I didn't think that you could have a stroke at 19. What happened? Take us through that day.
Okay, what you must remember is that I was healthy before this.
Really? You ate well,
yes.
exercised?
Yes, exercised, ate well, wasn't overweight, anything. So I didn't have any typical stroke factors. On the night, it was very, very early in the morning, I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I was growling in those kind of sounds. From there, I actually physically had to drag my body across the floor to the bathroom just to get out of bed. From there, I somehow managed to get to the couch where my parents woke up because they heard me and shouting, and then from there they rushed me to hospital.
How did you feel in that moment? Yeah, because I'm sure you don't know how to diagnose yourself. You don't know what's going on, and you've never experienced it, especially at the young age of 19. What were some of those emotions like?
To be honest, I didn't remember much. I only remember being on the couch. I remember being in the car. I remember laying in a hospital bed because I wasn't lucid. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was happening to me. I was numb from the right side completely. I couldn't move my limbs. I was blind on the right eye. So it was scary. I didn't know what was happening, especially within the first week. I couldn't recognize who my family was, really, so it was very scary.
When you eventually did come to and you spoke to the doctor, I'm sure you must have had so many questions, but what was the explanation? And I mean, I'm sure you must have just wanted to know how, why, what.
So I couldn't explain because I developed what's called aphasia. So I lost my language. I couldn't speak, read or write or recognize.
Did you have it in your head? Did you know words in your head?
Yes.
They just couldn't come out. Okay.
I totally know what I wanted to say. It just didn't want to come out at all. So my loving parents communicated for me. If I wanted anything, I had to get out of bed to physically show them what I wanted to do, to use the bathroom or just brush my hair, really.
I can only imagine the frustration that you go through as a young, used to be able-bodied person going through this whole process, now recovery. How did recovery look like for you, and how did you establish a new normal?
So my recovery was in a span of 2 years. So every week, 3 times a week, I went to speech therapy to obviously relearn the English language. And I had the most amazing speech therapist, Lee Meyer. She really taught me so much, as well as my parents. You know, it's the practice every day. So my recovery was over that period, but I am still recovering. I still have my triggers, and I still have, you know, those times where I forget or those kind of things.
As a result of that, I mean, what do you live in fear that it could happen again? And especially because you said that you were healthy, you didn't have any of those red flags.
Of course. I mean, I make sure that I make the measures so that I kind of try to prevent it as much as I can. But you never know what's going to happen in the future. I just try to be as healthy as possible.
What are the things that you have changed in your life?
So I was on blood thinners medication to obviously lessen the clot in my brain, as well as a complete new diet. I couldn't eat certain things because it would thicken the blood. Lots of exercise. Listen to the doctors.
Yeah, so we just came out of course, Stroke Awareness Week. Why is it so important for you to stand up here, be loud and proud, saying I'm a survivor, and of course impart some of that wisdom onto others?
What I would like to say to the young people is that don't think that because you're young and you are beautiful, that it will never happen to you. It happened to me, and what I've learned in the ward, I've met so many young people in the ward suffering what I did and a much worse case. So if you feel your triggers coming along, seek help. be surrounded by family where they can watch you and monitor you, so that the time in getting to hospital is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I can also just say, if you have suffered a stroke, share the awareness. The young people have to know, because it's not the 80-year-olds these days that are just suffering.
Yeah, and I have to know, just because it sounded so interesting, what kind of foods actually thicken your blood?
So I couldn't use the vitamin K.
Yeah.
So it's anything with green, like...
Wow!
Yes.
That's what everybody, you've just got to eat greens, but greens are vitamin K and that thickens your blood.
Yes, that thickens your blood.
A word.
As well as certain medications, of course, thicken your blood. Tomato sauce thickens your blood. So.
Well, then you're just going to have to throw in a lot of champagne with that, because alcohol thins your blood. Thank you so much for being here. It's an absolute, totally interesting listening to your story. Thank you for creating all the awareness that you do.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Enjoy delicious homemade iced tea this summer. Simply add fresh lime, berries and honey to ice-cold Fresh Pack Rooibos tea. See on pack for more recipes. Fresh Pack, goodness comes naturally.
Now, you can't beat a refreshingly iced lolly on a hot summer's day. So ditch the sugary stuff and make your own great-tasting, healthier frozen treats with Fresh Pack Junior. We are pretty certain that our peach and apricot popsicles will get any child's approval. Now, to get this recipe, SMS the keyword Fresh Pack to 33650. SMSs cost R1.50 and free SMSs do not apply. Now we've got something cool to kind of cool down our taste buds.
All that hot stuff.
Yeah.
Right, so this is quite easy. We're going to make some popsicles.
Easy, okay.
Very nice for the kids. So what you do is that you take about 3 tea bags, pop them in boiling water, and you just stir, and you allow them to just,
get all those flavors out.
Yes.
And I see that we're using here peach and apricot flavored Fresh Pack.
Yeah.
So it's already kind of there for us. They've made it so simple, so easy. You don't have to go above and beyond. We're just intensifying it, as we always do, though.
And then what we do is that for our syrup, we take some syrup.
Okay.
Just pour that in there.
Ooh, I see the pan was already so hot.
And you add some water as well.
Okay.
And you add some peaches. Let me get that for you.
Thank you, thank you.
And you just add some peaches as well.
Here I can see we've used some dried peaches, but you can use some fresh peaches or whatever you have, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just stir, and we're just going to allow that to thicken. Yeah, so you have to monitor it. We don't want it to burn and become hard.
And we want everything to become reduced. So the water needs to become reduced, thicken up a bit.
Let that sit, yeah.
Okay.
Let that sit. And we come this side and we do my fave.
Oh,
so what we do
so
is that,
good. So this is how it looks like at the
when
end.
When it's done.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like this.
Okay.
So we just pop some of our yogurt in here.
Nice.
And then, now this is the actual, the popsicle.
Right? Oh, now we've created the actual popsicle. Yes. Okay, so once the tea has cooled down, you can place it in any other container.
You have to let it cool down.
You have to,
You must just let it cool down. Okay. So you can stir that.
Okay. Looking good, looking good. And of course, you can try this in whichever flavor you prefer at home, whether you're more of a berries type of person or whatever.
And I mean, there are so many different flavors, There are lots of flavors you can play around with.
Okay.
Then when we are done here, what we do is that we take our mold, just move to this side. So you can do the right-hand side, I'll do the left.
Okay.
So we take these dried apricots, right?
So we're just adding more flavor, more apricots, more goodies in here.
Just add them at the bottom.
And I know school holidays are coming up. The December holidays are right around the corner. So this is something nice to try. I know kids always want a good snack. Kids always want you to go out and buy something. But this is a fun, creative way to enjoy your kids, enjoy time in the kitchen, and make homemade ice lollies.
Yep. So this is our tea, which had cooled down, right? Okay. So what we do is that we just pop a bit of it at the bottom, just so that once it's frozen, it doesn't stick to the bottom of the mold.
Nice.
So you just pop a little bit, just at the bottom.
Nice.
Yeah. And then you can help with this. So just take spoonfuls and just chuck it in there.
Oh, okay. So now we're just adding the layer. Of that dairy in there.
Yeah.
Okay, this is so easy. How else can we play with this recipe at home? If people might not have all the ingredients, is it quite flexible?
Look, it is flexible. It's very easy. You can
add some some more tea in the bowl. There we go.
Okay. And then you just add those in there. And then when you are done, you take your popsicle sticks, right? And you just
Oh, and then
pot
that's
them
when
in
you
there.
put them
Yeah.
inside. I think this recipe is so simple, so easy to try, that I'm going to put mine before just to add space. There we go.
Yeah.
And how long does this need to freeze? Just
You
estimate it
freeze
overnight?
Yeah, about 2 hours minimum. Minimum of 2 hours, and just let it freeze, and it's ready after that.
Wow,
Yeah.
super simple, super easy, ready for any December vibe, whether you're braaiing at home with the friends,
and
entertaining.
and the great thing is that it's very nutritious. There are no additives. You know, the stuff we buy at shops is not as healthy as stuff you can make yourself. I mean, these are fresh ingredients that you can use.
Super fresh, super simple, and they come out looking spectacular, like that end product right there, fruity and refreshing. So go out and treat your kids with this delicious recipe. But if you need to see the steps again, watch this.
Enjoy delicious homemade iced tea this summer. Simply add fresh lime, berries and honey to ice-cold Fresh Pack Rooibos tea. See on pack for more recipes. Fresh Pack, goodness comes naturally.
Join us as we talk to Dr. Judy, who is the CEO and biomedical scientist of Biomedical Emporium, after the break.
brave young kids around our country fight their own private battle against cancer. To show them that other kids and families have got their back, a portion of the proceeds from every NutriKids product sold will go to secure the next Clover NutriKids Choc Home in Port Elizabeth, a support base where children undergoing treatments and their families are accommodated, supported, and given a fighting chance against cancer.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now this Saturday, the Valdevia Estates will be celebrating its 10th year hosting the annual Pink Polo.
So we're joined now in studio by Dr. Judy, the CEO and biomedical scientist of Biomedical Emporium, which is the headline sponsor for this year's Polo with a Purpose. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
What exactly is the Biomedical Emporium? What do you do there?
So we are a leading biotechnology company. We make medical devices, we make pharmaceutical products, and we make what we are most popular for, medical aesthetic skincare products.
Oh, love.
I remember last year we had such a great, incredible experience where you did the micro needling.
The polka dot treatment.
The polka dot treatment. Yes. And my skin has been popping ever since, and I'm not just saying that. And now you've got this incredible collaboration with the Pink Polo, Polo with a Purpose. How excited are you to be supporting this cause?
We are extremely excited, and Biomedical Emporium wanted to get involved, personally for myself, for 3 sentimental reasons. The one being it's Pink Polo's 10-year anniversary this year. The second one is I have a family member who currently goes through breast cancer treatments. And the third component is that Biomedical Emporium gets to work with breast cancer patients on a day-to-day basis as well. So we go through their step-by-step journey, and we see the effect that it has on the skin, the side effects associated with the treatments and so forth. We understand it very well, and we are so glad that we can be able to participate.
I want to know a little bit more about the treatments that you do with cancer patients.
You know, one of the biggest side effects of cancer treatments, any cancer treatment, is, listen to this, they go on chemo, they go on radiation treatments, and they use oncology drugs. So what does these treatments do? They stop cells from dividing. The biggest side effect is on the skin. So the skin also stops to divide. And your skin wants to become a production facility of making new cells. And that's why if you go through these treatments, then people experience very inflamed skin, dehydrated skin, pain. And if a patient has to go through for surgery like a single or a double mastectomy, those scars convert into either a keloid or a hypertrophic scar. And that's where we come in. We facilitate, we produce, formulate products that can help them with new cellular restructuring, cellular renewal, and reducing inflammation.
And Dr. Judy, I've gotten to see one of your patients who had a double mastectomy, and she had very horrific scarring, which can give you your own kind of body dysmorphia after such a traumatic event. And already she's been able to see such incredible improvements in the scarring, and she just looks so transformed. How intricate is a procedure like that, and how does it work?
You know, the other day I actually asked some of our cancer patients, why is it that you're coming back for a 4th and a 5th year for some of these treatments? And the biggest answer was because they don't feel the way we treat them is in a very clinical, very medical environment. So we take them out that environment of trauma and stress and bring them in an environment of harmony, equilibrium, and we get to treat them and they come back. We don't hurt them. None of our treatments or products hurt them, burn them. It's really just components that you introduce to your skin to facilitate that cellular renewal, and they come back, and what makes them come back is the fact that they see the results, the before and the after. And you can imagine if you go for a double mastectomy, it's going to steal your self-confidence. And now if you bring that back, they just come back and they can see this absolute revival, and it creates a message of hope.
It must be so fulfilling for you to see people's confidence in themselves restored after something that can be really, really traumatic.
If you can imagine, if you can get a cancer patient be comfortable again in their own skin, it's such a positive environment to be in. The message of hope you know, it ticks all the boxes for me, absolutely. And that's why, you know, this becomes a passion because you constitute and contribute to something greater.
And finally, Dr. Judy, so exciting this weekend is the Pink Polo, and I hope everyone that is in the Western Cape area is going to go head out for Polo with a Purpose, dressed in pink and all the lovely things. And you've got such incredible hands-on work with the ladies in that area and in that community of Val de Vie. And how special is it to be able to continuously give back to them on Saturday?
You know, it makes such a remarkable difference. If you cannot do something in your work environment that's really going to make a difference in somebody's life, then there's a bit of an empty space. And that's what I like about being part of this. Whether we help children with cancer or ladies or people with breast cancer, we really make a huge difference. And early detection is absolutely key. And maybe as an executive summary, people have a fear to go get themselves tested because they think, what if I test positive? But things in 2019 has changed so much that the prognostic diagnosis and clinical evaluation and treatments for these cancers will lead to a full recovery.
What a great, great way to finish the show with so much hope. Thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, good night and God bless.
Afternoon Express, made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.